Hi everyone, back at it. First of all, I'm going to apologize again for my voice. It just doesn't seem to be responding to anything, from hot tea to honey to you name it. Anyway, so please bear with me, and I'll do the best I can to get through this. Again, I want to talk about film on Steemit. Let me put it this way. A professor of mine back in university once told me that, you keep at things and trying to figure it out, trying to find your pathway through all of the roadblocks that are put before you whenever you're trying to build out a scenario on a subject or whatever. And he says you'll reach a point of absolute confusion, but not to be discouraged, because according to him, confusion is a very, very elevated state. It's a very high state, and it usually precludes a breakthrough. Well, I'll tell you, as regards film on Steemit right now, I got to tell you, I'm ready for a big breakthrough, because I'm getting more and more confused as each hour goes by. It's a bit of an exaggeration, but it is frustrating nonetheless. Anyway, I talked a little bit yesterday about sort of the bigger picture of film on the blockchain. And I want to carry on with that a little bit and look at maybe how there are certain aspects to this that have to be realized. And of course, not only are there such things as financing and whatnot, but things like scalability and how all this can come together in a specific format or model that any one of us could pick up and run with. Excuse me. So let me say, considering the universality of this, think of just an individual. And this individual has an idea. And we're talking now in terms of just film. We're not talking photography. We're not talking about art. We're talking about film. So this individual has an idea that they have the basis for a film. Regardless of whether it's large or small, we need to be able to have a setup within Steemit that will foster the generation and development of this idea. Totally decentralized, to the point where anyone who's got the idea should be able to take this journey. So I'll give you an example of a person, let's say, who has a small short story. Maybe it's a slice of their own life that they just desperately want to tell. Maybe it's only 7-8 minutes long. But whether it's that or whether it's a 90-minute feature, they should be able to start out at roughly the same spot if we're going to use the universality concept and the reward system of the Steemit model. So think of this small one now. There are opportunities for rewards that this person could turn to by sharing the development of the piece with Steemians. And let's assume if it's interesting and if it's noted as being a creative project in terms of film, a creative film project, that there could be a following developed, rewards earned and whatnot, that theoretically, based on a 6 or 7 minute film, one could fund the film through the rewards. The system to receive those rewards would maybe allow people to share in the writing, maybe help people or ask people for comments, suggestions, critique. Also, through the planning, share all that detail. The meetings that you're involved in and the planning of it. The meetings that you're involved in when you select, people such as the DOP, editors, actors, and so on. And then also share in daily blogs of the actual shoot. Have someone shadow you as the creative individual and share all of this. And theoretically, if you do that, although initially the one with the idea would probably have to, shall we say, bridge finance this. In other words, have enough money in his pocket to get it going, and then to have it replenished with what would be what would be earned through the rewards. Then it's very feasible that you could do a very interesting, or end up with a very interesting and exciting project. I mean, you can even carry it to the point of sharing blogs at the film festivals that it's entered into, the ones you go to. I mean, there could be a very interesting, let's say, revenue stream for the project that comes from the reward system through Steemit. So that definitely, is a possibility. And I think a very viable one. There's some great short stories out there, and terrific, small documentaries out there that deserve to be told, and that with a genuine following on the part of Steemians in this case, could be instrumental in getting the story out. Also, because we're worldwide in this case, if the actual release at a film festival might be in Berlin or could be in Salt Lake City, Utah, I'm sure there will be Steemians there on the ground that might be willing to become part of the overall promotion and whatnot of the film locally as well, and then become part of the blogs that are posted on Steemit again for further rewards. So I can see it being a small revenue generator for a small project, very viable. And I think that what we've got to do is maybe somehow or another simply identify it as a project, specific film project, some label, some identifier, I don't know, but that would assist those. Of course, we tag them now: screenwriter, filmmaker, etc. That might be all we need to get the followings that we need to generate this stream, shall we say, this income stream for such a small film. So from that point of view, I see it being very viable. Now, it's when you go to the upper end of the chain, shall we say, and you're doing a feature film, that although I think that you could develop in the same scenario general income, smaller amounts of income based on the reward system for a major film, you can, I doubt, although it's possible, I guess, I doubt you'll be able to generate enough revenue in that regards to actually finance a full 90-minute film feature. But you can certainly develop in the same way, the revenue stream based on the rewards system in Steemit as, for example, maybe seed capital to help in the development of the overall film. Now, when you get to that stage, I think what we're probably looking at is a separate token for a specific project. So in my case, let's call it Stoker's Furnace. And for the sake of a better label, let's call it the Stoker's Furnace token. There would be the possibility of having it develop on Steemit right from the beginning, as did the smaller project. But then when it gets to the point where it's got some, shall we say, reasonable success property, and this can be developed in a number of ways as well. The seed capital, shall we say, that's developed through the reward system could in fact finance entry into some script and film festivals. And on that basis, build some additional credibility for the piece. Then when you get to the token, the Stoker's Furnace token scenario, you could have an auction, so to speak, building out X tokens, and thereby generating the capital to actually do the film. I mean, that's a possibility without question. Or it could be simply that the Steemit rewards revenue could be sufficient to create an investment package for investors outside of the blockchain, which does not appeal to me at all, but I'm assuming it's a possibility. So I'm thinking now that the way to keep it universal is to set up a standard, or to set up a scenario that anyone could partake in at any time within the process, based on the merit of the process at that point in time. In other words, I'll say it again, I could see the reward system with Steemit generating revenue sufficient to build credibility around a project, helping finance the entry into, for the screenplay, let's say, for example, into film festivals. And on that basis, and maybe with people attached to the film, add a little more credibility so that you could then set up this Stoker's Furnace token and finance the film accordingly. And then, of course, enter into relationships with Steemit, for example, on releasing the film on Steemit first, and or other possibilities as well. Anyway, I'm kind of going down this path now. I reserve the right to pull back and go down a completely different path. As I say, I'm just looking for options here. So if any of you could comment on this, maybe add some insight that you might see as being potential, as being a potential benefit for us in developing this new creative path for film on the blockchain, I'd appreciate anything you'd have to say. So I think I better call it a day before my voice completely gives out. So I thank you very much for your time today, and I certainly look forward to hearing your comments, okay? Take care. Until next time. Bye-bye.